Everyone wants to take their business, their skills, to the next level. Small and mid-sized business owners have exceptional insight into how to do this. They endure and thrive because they find ways to overcome the challenges that come their way, and they can teach us valuable lessons to apply to our own companies and lives. Stephen Neuner, founder and owner of Alkali, a company with a unique process that helps businesses more effectively buy and manage their insurance programs. And Bob Gibbons, builder of Riata Commercial Realty, a real estate advisor and tenant advocate, are two prominent Metroplex businessmen who, along with their weekly guests, will ask their and your probing questions, finding impactful solutions that will help you reach for the next level. Here are your hosts, Stephen Neuner and Bob Gibbons.
Welcome to The Next Level, conversations that propel business. This is your host, Bob Gibbons.
And I'm your other host, Stephen Neuner, an aged host.
Aged?
Yes, and experienced. You know what today is, right, Bob?
Yes, I do, actually. It's our 2-year anniversary of having this show on the air. Yes, Jack's in the other room clapping for us.
Yeah, it's a golf clap, though, so I'm not
well, he's
sure.
clapping because he's thinking, oh, we're that much closer to this ending. So what, 2 years? We did an anniversary show a year ago.
Yes.
And so here we are. It's just
riveting.
you. It was riveting. Actually, I listened to it again this morning, and it was a better show than I remembered, if I must say myself.
Well, that's good news. We're off to a good start then.
So far. So what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I listened as well, and I thought it would be great to kind of reflect on some of the goals we laid out. Last year we did, in case you guys want to go check it out, it is on podcast at The Next Level Show. And so if you guys want to go, it's a 1-year anniversary show.
I think it's episode 53.
Episode 53. But we went through a strategic coach tool, which is a tool from a coaching program I've been involved with for years, called the Experience Transformer. And we went through what was working and what wasn't working, and we kind of laid out some goals both for the show and personally a year ago, things that we were committed to. So I thought it'd be fun to reflect on what we said we were up to and what we actually have done.
Okay.
As we always encourage our guests to be transparent.
This could be dangerous, but let's do it.
Yeah, and just see where it goes.
Okay.
All right.
So lead us off.
Well, before we do that, I think 2 important things should happen.
Gratitude, I think, would be one of those.
Gratitude would be the definite first one.
Okay.
So
who do we have to thank? I would start with Fern Knable. She's your personal assistant, but she's also our guest coordinator. She helps us keep all the guests and straight and whatever, all the information we need from her, and she does a great job of that.
She runs mission control. Yeah.
Mission control, exactly.
Jessica Knable, who makes all of our great ideas come to life and helps refine our terrible ideas into better ones.
And Mark Liberio, he is an independent filmmaker with Tetra Media. And Tetra Media is a great company, and he does all the editing of our video that's on our website, nextlevelshow.com.
And if he could just make Bob look a little bit taller and me a little tanner, I think
taller and younger.
So thank you, Mark. And then I think we definitely can't go without thanking Jan and Corey, our better halves. Yes. Corey, I'd like to kick a special shout out for letting me pursue this passion project instead of buying our kids shoes.
Oh, yeah. I'm so sure. But thank you, Corey. We appreciate that. And thank you, Jan, for your help and support as well. And we also want to thank them for having been a guest on our show.
Yes.
And that was a stressful show for me because I thought this was going to be so natural and easy, and it actually turned out to be one of the more difficult shows for me. It was awkward, but they did a great job. It was me.
And we're all still happily married, so. Go check out the fireworks.
So that's gratitude. What was the other one you wanted to?
Wisdom of others.
Wisdom of others. That's our quote.
We can get really deep in this show here, and before we pontificate,
okay,
stuff that maybe you don't care about. Maybe we should take some wisdom of others and get it out there.
All right. So who's our wisdom giver today?
So a book that I'm reading right now. In fact, there's going to be I believe a speaker coming up inside Entrepreneurs Organization. There's a book written called Essentialism by Greg McKeown. And this book has really, really impacted my thinking. And so I thought I would share that quote.
Okay.
And it is, "The way of the essentialist means living by design, not by default. Instead of making choices reactively, the essentialist deliberately distinguishes the vital few from the trivial many.
So read that first sentence for me again.
The way of the essentialist means living by design, not by default.
So what does default mean? Just letting things happen to you as they come?
So, I mean, perfect example for me. I've been through, and I'm on a good path right now, but I've been through a path where I just get up and literally my inbox and people's calls and emails dictate my day.
Right.
Versus me having some essential priorities, things that I'm up to and that I'm committed to, and then kind of letting the rocks and the sand and all that stuff fit in with what my plan and intentions are. And sometimes some of that needs to be sifted out as well, which is what I love, designing your day versus just letting it happen.
Right. Yeah, and I know my sort of natural way of doing things would be more the default. I definitely have a lot of things in my business that I've set up that just kind of keep going, different processes or marketing or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then now that that's going, I don't necessarily always reevaluate those to the degree that I should. And I don't necessarily design each of my days with the idea of what's the most critical thing I have to do today that's going to not just put out the fire that's in front of me, but is going to set me up for a better future. That's one of my weaknesses.
Yeah. And I mean, I would say it's one of my strengths, but I still fall off from time to time like everybody else. And so the book, what I can do is get too excited about too many things. And what I actually need more help with is figuring out sometimes what to say no to.
And so then the book is called Essentialism.
Yes.
Okay. I like that one a lot.
Yeah. Check it out. So you want to get into some...
So let's recap what we said we were going to do last year. What was our goals? And so we'll kind of have to fess up to where we are on them now.
So I'll start with you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for that helpful
Last year you threw me for
I did.
So yeah. He who is most prepared wins. So last year, Bob, you had a couple of pretty big things I've got you had committed to. The first one was that you were not going to have your any cell phone mishaps while recording the show.
I actually blew that on last week's show. I was really good until last week when it rang in the middle of the show. Yeah. So I failed.
And then the other one was you have an ongoing goal for a number of years now to never watch The Karate Kid.
I'm still successful on that. It's still sitting there. It's still in the cellophane when you gave it to me.
I got Bob the box to gift set of all the movies and a Sweep the Leg Johnny shirt. So.
It is a collector's item still.
Yeah, well, awesome.
Unused.
But more seriously, a couple of goals you had talked about, and I appreciated your candidness. It was inspiring last year, but you had talked about the new journey that was really working with Jan. However, that you were having to work through some kind of humility issues of allowing her to change and move and improve and do some things.
Yeah.
How's that gone?
And I would say that's a work in progress still, a process. I still, I guess it's just, my nature. Whenever I seem so laid back on some things, but then there's other things that I am very specific about, and it's like, well, it needs to be done this way, and I think I have loosened up on several areas, but probably not enough for her to be happy enough. But I would say that's improving, but still a work in process.
Progress, not perfection, right?
That's right.
Yeah. The second one, you were moving from ACT into a different CRM system.
Yes, and we did definitely move to Nutshell.
Okay.
We're still using Nutshell, and we have weaned ourselves off of ACT 100%. We don't use it at all.
Congratulations.
Before I did that, though, I exported in ACT you can export everything to an Excel file. So I exported every piece of data that was in there for 3,000 plus contacts into an Excel file, which I can go get if I still need to look something up.
How often have you had to go look at something up?
Probably 3 or 4 times in the last year. One of which was yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But the reason for that was because the my big issue last year was that how do we take information out of the old CRM and put it into the new CRM only for those things that are critical, not for just everything that was there. Well, every now and then I found out, you know what, there was a few things in there that I still needed to refer to occasionally, but I don't use on any kind of regularity.
But would you have figured it out if you didn't have it?
If I didn't have...
If you didn't have the
old
Excel spreadsheet, would you have survived? Would you have been able to figure it out?
Yes, but I wouldn't have provided as good a service to somebody in the timely manner that I was able to do so.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, it was nice to still have that as a backup.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I didn't just cut it off and be done with it and pretend I never needed it again, perhaps.
So I have all these random Evernote notes that I keep and everything else, and I'm thankful for that because it used to be paper, and I keep all this paper. And I was listening to a podcast one time, and someone said, what would happen if lightning struck, and burned all your paper files up?
Oh, wow.
Right? And I was like listening to it, and I was like, I would just move on. I mean, like, it's all this stuff seems so important. I hang on all this paper, but really we'd just keep moving.
But if you can make it searchable, you know where to go get it and search it if you need it. But that, anyway, so what's next?
The other one was you were going to say no to wrong fit clients.
Yeah, and actually I've done a great job of that. So there's a person.
So business has shrunk by 40%. Just kidding.
Actually, in 2016, business was down slightly, which is pretty surprising given how much the real estate industry is rocking. But part of that was because of saying no to clients, people that I decided I shouldn't be dealing with, and this way, I've been able to refer them to someone else who's happy for that business, who does a great job. And she has really helped out. So I referred her 23 clients that I had actually worked with, plus several more since then. And I continue to refer people to her on a regular basis, and she seems great and happy for it. So that actually is going really well.
That's awesome. That takes a lot of courage, right?
Yeah.
I know how scary that can be.
Oh yeah. Well,
especially if business is down a bit, part of that, but in the long run, my experience is that it really works out.
And fortunately, business was down somewhat intentionally. Not that sounds crazy, but not that I was trying to earn less revenue, but because of the decisions we made, it wasn't surprising. It was more predictable. So I wasn't terribly upset about that.
Cool. So we're going to go to a break here, but when we come back, we're going to talk about Bob's last goal, which was the implementation of the RIATA lease track system. Stick around.
See you in a few.
And now, Confessions of a Recovering Landlord.
This is Bob Gibbons with RIATA Commercial Realty, and I am your recovering landlord. After 20 years as a landlord, I now use that experience only for the benefit of companies that lease or buy office buildings and warehouses. Today's confession: knowledge is power. We all negotiate from a position of power and strength, or at least we want to. In any negotiation, the party with the most knowledge probably has the upper hand. And landlords count on this being the case whenever you're negotiating a lease, because most landlords are professional real estate investors and they hire professional leasing agents and property managers. Landlords are in the market every day negotiating leases, while tenants probably only negotiate 1, maybe 2 leases every few years. So tenants feel outgunned. Don't let landlords have all the power. As a former landlord for 20 years, I understand how landlords think and what motivates them. So let me put that knowledge and experience to work on your side of the negotiation. To learn more, contact me at texastenantrep.com. Again, that's texastenantrep.com.
Have you started making plans to take your business to the next level in 2016? Hi, I'm Stephen Neuner, founder and CEO of Alkali. We have a trademark process called the Empowered Advantage that enables CEOs, business owners, and entrepreneurs to more effectively buy and manage their insurance. Before sitting down to make your plans for the new year, here are just a few things to consider. Would you say that you have an actual insurance strategy, one that you can articulate, or have you just purchased a policy here and there over the years? If you have an insurance strategy, was it discussed under the pressure of a renewal deadline or considered earlier in the year to avoid fire drill decision making? If your answer was no to either of these questions, then you may not have the right partner on your team. Visit alkaliservices.com to contact us and take the next step to a bigger and better future.
Hey, this is Bob Lilly with Bob Lilly Promotions, and our company helps companies brand their business better. Had a great time on the show with Steven and Bob, and they've proven to me that it's true. Nice guys really can finish last.
Welcome back to The Next Level, conversations that propel business. This is where I would normally reintroduce our guests, but it's just Steve and I today for our 2-year anniversary show.
I fully reject your just Steven and I.
Just Steven. Just Steven, but then me.
It's there's always a bright side with you, Bob. Well, speaking of bright sides, I know you were doing. We're looking at some of your goals that you'd laid out last year in our anniversary show, and one of them was doing a better job of communicating the value of the Riata lease track system. Which,
right.
For those of you guys don't know, on the audience, Bob, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, basically the Riata lease track system is a branded process that we have, a proprietary branded process where we help our clients manage their leases. So once a lease is signed, instead of going away and not showing up again until there's another opportunity to earn money, we help to manage our clients' leases throughout their lease term.
And as a client, they do a really great job at that. So you guys need to go to TexasTenantRep.com. I should know that.
I was going to see if you remembered.
Old habits die hard.
Yeah, TexasTenantRep.com is where you can find out.
And learn more about that because it's saved us some big bucks just with the ongoing management of our lease. So thanks for that, Bob.
Sure. So that was one of my goals, is how to better communicate that. So last year on that show, I had mentioned that I had engaged the Draw Shop, which does these whiteboard videos, the little hand that draws pictures and stuff. And
right.
So we did that. The one thing that was funny is that I spent $1,500 on this video, and then somebody told me I could have gotten it done for $300.
Oh, wow.
Which was kind of funny. But I was real proud, and I showed it to a group that I'm a member of other guys that do what I do, and they all were like, "Hey, that looks really fantastic. What'd you pay for it?" And I told them, they're like, "Oh, you got suckered, buddy."
Really?
Like, you're kidding me. He goes, one guy said, "Yeah, I got that. It's almost the same thing, $300." I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
Did you look at it?
Yes, and actually, it was pretty good.
Okay.
But anyway, nonetheless, so we created this video as a better way to get people to actually pay attention, because we previously had been sending an email which had a bunch of text in it outlining all the benefits that clients get from this system.
Seen that email. Novel.
Yeah, it was way too long. People were clearly not reading it. So now we have a 57-second video that pretty much gives the reasons why it's important and beneficial for somebody to use. So we've been using that more. Has that resulted in more people taking us up on using that? That I can't really answer. That the answer is yes. I'd hoped that was going to be the answer, but I'm not so sure that it is. Whenever I'm actually in front of like I was in front of a group just last week, and we just, I described it, and everybody in the room was like, "Man, that's fantastic. I can't believe that. That is such a good thing. And you do that for free?" I can't, so it seems like when people really pay attention, they get it and they want it. But getting that attention seems to be the hard part. And if I'm not in front of them physically, sending them something doesn't seem to be doing the trick. So I'm still all ears on how to make that one work.
Well, maybe we can talk about that on another show. Obviously, we've spent a lot of time on our unique process.
Yes.
Ours was developed in partnership with our clients, and we trademarked it. It's called the Empowered Advantage, and I've learned a lot over the years with it. And I can tell you a lot of, share from that experience, a lot of things we've done wrong and a lot of things we've done right. One of the things just in this conversation that came to mind was, I train our team that even though Empowered Advantage is great and our clients develop, we know it provides value that's meaningful to the clients. It's 8 steps. Not everybody, everyone's looking for, what I tell them is everyone's looking for a bigger and better future for themselves. No one really gives a crud about what we're selling.
Right.
So don't bother. So what I really spend a lot of time is training them to ask questions that identify pain points that then we can tell them how the Empowered Advantage solves it. And there's a big difference in that, because I tell them don't even talk to them about it unless the client's given permission by expressing that it's a pain point.
I got you. All right, so maybe another show we'll go into the whole thing. So let's turn the tables now and talk about your goals that you expressed a year ago.
Yeah.
So the first one was finding a mentor for larger scale B2B sales. So have you found that mentor?
I found a mentor, And then recently, because of the changes that we talked about on our Independence Day show and our partnership with Assured Partners, I ended in a mutual positive way that mentorship relationship.
Because everything changed.
All my tools have changed.
Yeah.
Everything that that we had to do that, I now have some new capabilities, which is exciting.
So you got credit for having done it.
I would say no, because I didn't get the results. We wanted to hire two consultants. Our goal was to hire consultants and make progress over there. So we got some mentors in place. And as soon as we started to get some traction with the budget, then we went a different route. So maybe it's a plus minus. I didn't get the result, but I am excited about going forward. Some of the capabilities, and I really think it's going to be transformational for our clients and for our team.
Cool.
And
All right.
so looking forward to that.
Well, another one of your goals was to implement EOS, which is Entrepreneur Operating System. And so you were thinking about doing that. What'd you end up doing?
Well, I thought about it, and of course, we had a guest, Jeff Whittle, Whittle and Partners, that talked about the EOS traction system, and so I implemented it. We moved forward, pulled the trigger. We're actually using Jeff. He's fantastic. I know there's a lot of implementers out there. I've met a few. I really would highly recommend Jeff. He's done a great job for our team. But what's interesting to me about it is I implemented because of challenges we were having where I felt like we were a little bit disjointed with the growth we were experiencing. But I had no idea that the opportunity that I couldn't refuse was going to come along with Assured Partners, and that we would have that big kind of milestone and change. And implementing it was fantastic within our business, but it is really, really, I had no idea how important that would be. And right now, I think we're in 100 times better state after going through such a major change. And it's all really because of the EOS system and learning how to have better conversations that are open, honest.
So are you saying that by having implemented EOS, it made the process of managing that
All the change.
partnership and negotiating it and having those conversations, all that made it easier, or it's actually going to be easier to operate the company going forward?
Both.
Okay.
So obviously, there were some, changes that occurred, and so we've had long-term team members been with us for a while, and there's concerns and everything else. And EOS provides a structured format to have really difficult conversations for the betterment of everybody. And so those conversations have happened. It's not utopia, but I know we're talking about the real issues, and so that's fantastic. And then kind of on a going forward basis, I think it's going to be really fantastic as well.
Okay. Another thing you mentioned was you wanted to refocus. Mm-hmm. So what did that mean, and what did you do to accomplish that?
Well, a couple of things, goals for next year, but the biggest thing that I've done is I joined Strategic Coach and
Rejoined it.
So I was in it for years, rejoined it, and the biggest thing I can say about it is I have a personality that I can get, I'm very passionate. And what Strategic Coach really does a great job at is helping me spend time thinking about what I do need to be saying no to. What is the essential from the trivial many? Where can I make my highest point of contribution? Maybe I'm excited, but is it real excitement? Is it within my unique ability, or is it something I'm going to be excited with because it's new and shiny? And then eventually that's going to wane. And so doing that has been a game changer. And, a number of things are getting essentialized in my life on a go-forward basis since I've joined. I've been back in there for about 6 months now.
Okay. And then the last goal that you had mentioned last year was implementing a scheduling technology for the radio show for booking guests.
Yes. So we used to send around the emails, and we'd send a prospective guest 3 dates. We had to hold them until they got back to us, and just complete insanity. We've implemented a new technology. It's streamlined. It's easy. All the dates are on there. We send someone a link. They choose the link.
So it's an online scheduling tool, which is a beautiful thing because, for the show, we always have a whole bunch of people we're talking to about being potential guests. And in the past, I know every time I would book a guest, I would quickly text you, all right, I got somebody for this date. And that way.
No, I just gave that date to someone else.
Exactly. And so now I just tell people, look, go to that scheduling tool. Whoever grabs the date first gets it. Yep. It's a first come, first serve thing. So it really has removed a lot of stress of dealing with that.
So let's to wrap, what's your biggest thing moving forward? This 12 months from now, what's the biggest thing you'd like to accomplish personally?
I guess for me, it's going to have to be being more intentional about my day. And I know that's kind of a throwaway to some people because, everybody seems to struggle with this, but I guess for me, it really needs to be that way. It's your quote at the beginning really applies to me. And so I need to become much more deliberate. I need to write out what are the most important things for me, big goals, and then how does that translate to weekly and daily, and get those things done first. It's kind of like, you and I are both Dave Ramsey fans, and Dave Ramsey talks about paying yourself first at some point once you've paid off your debts and all. But you got to pay yourself first. If you don't save for yourself, you're not going to have a future. You got to do the same thing with business. You got to sort of pay yourself first. What's the most important thing to building the value of your business first, and then let everybody else's problems,
Filter in,
right, and be and taken care of in there somewhere. So I need to do that. How about you?
Well, just for Dave's sake, Dave would say tithe first.
Well, okay.
But
all right,
just best with you.
I stand corrected.
Yeah. For me, it is keeping the main thing, and that goes back to what we're talking about: our branded processes, our process, and where we've gotten to where we're at, and the success we've had, and why Assured Partners was interested in partnering with us. Is we delivered a lot of value to the clients, and we've got to keep that as a priority, and then make sure that we're delivering value to our team. And just focus on making sure that we have that kind of relentless focus on that, and everything else I believe will come from that.
Okay.
What about the show?
Continuing to get great guests. I've been real happy with the guests we've been getting, and we just want to keep that going.
For me, I'd say streamlining the show through essentialism. By my calculation, I know we've discussed a little bit off air. We spent about 120 hours a year on this passion project, and so we're going to make some more essential in the spirit of technology to take our show to the next level.
And I'm anxious to see that, and I think we'll do it. You want to learn more about the show, please go to nextlevelshow.com. Find us on your favorite podcast service at The Next Level Show, and we'll be back next week with another guest. More information.
Make it a great week.
Bye.
Bye.
You have been listening to The Next Level, Conversations That Propel Business with Stephen Neuner and Bob Gibbons. Join us every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. for more prolific conversations that will take your business to the next level.